A structure so deeply embedded, most of those inside it don't even realize what they are a part of. Institutions you trusted operating within a framework you were never meant to question. And while you worked, struggled to survive, something bigger was moving behind the curtain. In this documentary, we exposed the largest financial deception in the history of mankind. Not with options, but with evidence. Irrefutable, irrevocable, undeniable. This is not about politics. This is about power. This is about control. And most importantly, this is about you. Because the moment you truly see it, the illusion collapses. The distractions lose its grip. The noise disappears. And the question becomes unavoidable. When this film is released, the truth will no longer be hidden. It will be undeniable, uncontainable, unstoppable. My job is to expose it. Your job is to make sure the world sees it. Now, will you have the courage to face it, to share it, to break free from the system that was designed to keep you enslaved forever? Or will you ignore the greatest revolution of our time? The truth is here. You will either stand up and help us dismantle the Matrix, or the Matrix will enslave you and your family for 1,000 years to come. The choice is yours. God knows I did my job. Cory, I actually saw him on a show with Brad Leah, dropping bombs. I'm sure you guys know the show. It's very popular. He's being stifled a little bit somehow because I think there's a certain things that the people upstairs don't like you saying. And when you say those certain things, they just literally turn you off. You know, he was getting hundreds of thousands of views, and now he's getting, maybe 10,000 at best. But anyway, you're running a company called Axen Realty, AXEN Realty. The name of your website is thecompleterealestategroup.com, and you're out of the Ventura, LA area. You got a very fascinating story. You almost died. The doctors said, hey, go home and get your affairs in order. You might not be around too much longer. And they want to put you on a bunch of medication. And you said, screw that. And you went and did some kind of fasting and some kind of cleanse. And the next thing you know, voila, your cancer was literally no longer there. Let's start there, and then let's talk about why your real estate company is head and shoulders above everybody else.
All right, yeah. So, basically, I mean, I've suffered, to kind of be vulnerable a little bit. I suffered from IBS, been diagnosed with Crohn's most of my life. Most embarrassing moments and things that have restricted me the most have been around my digestive issues. Couldn't eat a lot of different things, and then started bleeding. Basically where you're not supposed to be bleeding out of. And started having huge stomach pains, constantly nauseous, and went to the doctor, and they're like, "Hey, it looks like you got cancer." Started doing some tests. Things came back completely abnormal, gross in the digestive systems, gross in my liver, and basically they're saying, "Hey, you know what? We you should start planning for the worst." Um, and while I was waiting for my results to, back from the biopsies and stuff, I got in touch with a homeopathic doctor, and we did this huge parasite cleanse. I did a 7-day water only fast, no sugar. Basically kind of just cleaned everything up, and all of a sudden, within like 2.5, 3 weeks, all my symptoms went away. Um, I even say like since that point in time, since the initial 30-day flush, I've actually never had another IBS attack. All my Crohn's disease symptoms went away. So I went back to the doctor and said, "Hey, what do we got going on here?" And they said, "Okay, well, let's start doing some more tests." And all of a sudden, everything started coming back a much more positive light. Um, we did more biopsies. Everything came back clean of cancer. So then I said, "Oh, well, this is what I did." And they said, "Oh, no, that couldn't be it." And they told me they'd see me in 3 years, or that I'd be in remission pretty soon. So that was last year. But yeah, it was. it was definitely some crazy times. I mean, I doubled my life insurance. I thought, the end was here, and it gave a little bit more. It gave me a huge different perspective of what's really important in life. That's for sure.
Absolutely. How did your wife and your relatives and your cousins, your uncles, your neighbors, what did they think when you said this story about you possibly not being here in a few months down the road?
Crazy enough, I didn't tell anybody. Uh,
Okay,
I yeah. One, I didn't want to put them through it before me like being towards the end of everything. Secondly, I didn't want to be looked at differently. I
sure.
wanted them to look at me in a good light. I hate a pity party, so I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them until I actually started going through a parasite cleanse, and I said, "Hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah, smart
I
move.
think we can, I'm going to get ahead of it." And I needed their support. Yeah. So, and my mom's actually she's probably the first person I told of like, okay, mom, I'm waiting for my biopsy results. This is what's going on. She said, hey, I have a doctor for you. Go talk to her. And so I did. I immediately called her and we had a long conversation. And then I sent her my results of all my testing. She said, "Hey, I think we can beat this. And I don't even think you actually have cancer. I think you are infested with parasites and they're eating you from the inside out." She said, "Are you willing to do whatever it takes?" And I said, "Tell me what to do. I'll do it." So, and the cool thing was that she wasn't trying to sell me on some kind of witch doctor, like her special like recipe I could only get from her. It was all stuff that I bought Whole Foods, Amazon, Google, like it was just stuff that God had already provided for us for the most part. I mean, there was a couple little tinctures that we added in there, but um, for the most part, like no medicine, no ivermectin, and some other ones. And I think they've done some great research on those as well. So I'm not saying don't take those, but I'm just more of like I only take Advil for my headaches. So I try to do it this way first, and thank God with the blessings of God, like it worked. So
Absolutely. Thank the Lord above. Absolutely. I believe in the man upstairs immensely, and I
100%.
gotta tell you, I want to get my hands on this recipe. I know my wife has got it. We're waiting for one more ingredients. I don't know what that ingredient is, but we got the ingredients off of Brad Lee's dropping bombs page,
Yeah.
and I said to my people, a little group, look into this. We want to definitely get rid of the parasites. I think parasites, you're absolutely right, or a major culprit. So you did the cleanse and you said 3 weeks later you felt a lot better. How long before you felt like you're back to normal?
It was about like so I did 30 days of the cleanse and then I did a 7-day water fast, like a water only fast. And I'd say since that moment, I was like, okay, I feel a lot more healthy, like something's different. And then I started being able to like, just eat normal food and not have to like run to the bathroom, not bleed profusely, out of the hole you're not supposed to be bleeding out of.
Really?
Yeah, and then just started eating like all like I mean sugar for me was a food group. Like I'd go through 8, 9 candy bars, like go to the gas station, get 8 candy bars, and they'd be done before I'd even fill up my gas. Like it was craziness. So I mean if I have a candy bar, I don't think I finish it a lot of times now. Stop drinking Coke. I drink 8, 9 Cokes a day. Like it was like because the parasites, one of their main ingredients that they love and thrive off
Sugar.
of is sugar.
Yeah,
So they actually release, chemicals in your brain, and your body like literally fiends it. I have to wake up in the middle of the night and be like, okay, I gotta go have some ice cream, like just to feel normal.
sure.
So that's definitely changed. And now I just, I just trying to get more and more healthy, and I can't work. I had a huge neck surgery, so I can't work out, but I'm starting to feel like, okay, I can start doing light jogs and start getting back into, shape because
Yeah.
again, this is God gave us a body and our job is to actually take care of it. So,
Yeah. But
I'm just trying to look at it that way as
there's a
well.
lot of elements out there, Corey, as you know, that they're not on our side and they're trying to take us out. You
Yeah.
know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure Mr. Brad Lee would probably concur with us.
Yeah.
Um, so, with that said, you agree that there are things in our food that are being put there deliberately. I mean, look at the films of the 1950s and the 1960s, what people used to look like, and look at what people look like today. Look at the beaches in the 1950s and the 1960s, and go get some footage of beaches right now. Okay, I don't give a shit where you're at, even in your area of the woods where there's people with a lot of money. I know where you live. You're probably near, or you're not that far from Santa Barbara, right?
I'm like 15 minutes inland from Malibu and probably like a 35-minute jump from Santa Barbara.
There you go. So
Yeah.
there's people with a lot of money. I live in a very affluent neighborhood, and there's $1 million homes here are very prevalent. I'm talking 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, $6 million homes, and you look at these people and they look like hell. Now, how can
Yeah.
somebody so successful have a diet that's a riot?
Yeah. I think, I mean, I urge everyone to look this up, but the the same scientists and evil people that were running the, German, internment camps, they fled to America and started the American Medical Association.
Mm-hmm.
So they figured, okay, we know how to poison people to death instantly, but what if we can poison them more slowly
Mm-hmm.
and then infiltrate ourselves into the American Medical Association, the FDA? And you just look, they're poisoning us. I mean, I don't care if you're Republican or
Correct.
Democrat, like our government has allowed them to get away with by the stuff that they put in our food. Even these corporations like Kellogg's, they have a different cereal for America than they do in Europe. Like because they won't allow the poison that they put in our foods, and then we wonder why we have so much ADHD and obesity and diabetes and heart like it's because they're killing us with our food. Like, and then they feed us medicine that kills us, covers that symptoms, but kills us in a different way. We're so unhealthy in America. It's beyond belief. Um, so yeah, no, I definitely wholeheartedly believe that that's what's going on there.
So you think people in Europe, people in Italy, in France, Germany, what have you, Korea, South Korea, Japan, Australia are eating a lot healthier than we are.
I think their food is a lot healthier than we are, and their holistic approach to medicine, um, their importance of exercise and just getting out in the sunlight. I mean, just go back to COVID. They're telling us to stay indoors, and you're like, wait a second, we need vitamin D and E. Why would we not say like, hey, go out on a hike where, go by yourself, but shutting down our hikes and it just everything about it is like, no, that they are literally trying to kill us. And if you just go to your shopping centers, whether it's indoor or outdoor, look at all the stores that are going out of business, and then up pops a urgent care, or up pops a clinic, or and you're like, why, so that's thriving while everything else is dying.
Yeah.
They want us sick, and I don't think we have an insurance problem. Well, I think insurances are part of the problem, but we're not fixing the health care. And that's the problem. Is everyone's like, oh, get the government a single payer insurance. Like, no, it's not that. It's we need to take advantage of we needed to get a hold of our health care. We need to, like, I mean, that's one thing. I don't care if, again, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I'm a libertarian, so they're both crazy. But Senator Kennedy coming in and trying to make America healthy and taking out things out of our ingredients, making us be more aware of what ingredients are in our medicines and our vaccines. Like to me, that should be all great stuff. But
My
again,
question is, how long does it take, Corey?
well,
How long does it take?
I
Say,
think,
hey,
well, if you look
this
at
is
it,
a list
look,
of ingredients you could use, and here's a list of ingredients you can't use. And if you use the
well,
bad ones, we'll come close you down and put
yeah,
your company
well,
up
I
for
mean,
auction.
I think one, we've been doing this for 4, 5, 6 decades, poisoning our America, and we can't hide we like they can't come out and say, hey, they've been poisoning us and this is the extent they've been poisoning us, because then we'd fall apart from the inside out. And even these big corporations, like they can't change the ingredients overnight just for logistics purposes. But I think he's doing a good job. I mean, he's been saying, hey, you got to take this out. He's gotten like red dye taken out. I mean, the biggest thing for me for red dye, I used to work in the film industry. There would be a like a craft area where they keep all the foods and drinks and stuff. The rats broke into this and they tore apart everything and ate everything. The one thing they didn't touch was red Gatorade. And I'm like, if a rat won't touch red Gatorade, everyone better stay the heck away from red Gatorade. And it's the red dye as well as there's a chemical in Gatorade that we should not be drinking whatsoever. So, Red Bull, they wouldn't touch the Red Bull. Like there's certain things that we should not be touching, and they should, but even think about it. Cigarettes are still
Monster
legal.
drink. The
Yeah, monster
monster drink.
drinks.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I mean, but you think about it, cigarettes have been proven, like scientifically proven, to kill those that smoke them and people that do not smoke them, and yet it's still legal. You're like, how does that even make any type of sense?
Correct.
I don't know. I mean, I'm all about freedom of choice, but if a company is making something that knowingly kills people and knowingly kills people that don't even use it, you'd think that'd just be like, okay, well, this does not exist anymore. But it's we're backwards in this country, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your real estate companies. I know that you go way, way above and beyond what your
Yeah.
normal real estate company does. But before we get off the health subject, it seems to me that anybody who's in the health industry, where the sick model, are making a ton of money. I got a friend of mine in California. He owns he owns like two assisted living places. He owns where's that place where they go before they die?
Hospice.
Nursing homes,
Yeah.
hospices, yeah. Bunch of hospices. Worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean that's going back to like look at what's popping up in your, we had a bank close down and up and popped an urgent care into that bank. Like
right,
I used to own a kids gym and that is now literally a health clinic. Like
yeah.
that's what this our country is revolved around. And again,
True.
there's so many things from the stuff we eat to the medicines we take to what's in our skies. Like it's all made to make us sick, and then they're gonna come up with these, like they don't come with a cure, but they come with the symptom hider, to prolong our deaths a little bit longer.
Sure.
But yeah, going into real estate.
Yeah.
So I'm what's called a certified senior real estate planner. So I help people build, protect, and transfer generational wealth to real estate. So figure it kind of like a financial planner does for someone's stocks, bonds, retirement accounts. I do for people's real estate. I specialize helping seniors and their families downsize, relocate, transition. So I help with the decluttering, the organizing, the packing, the moving, the estate sales, the mover manager, the prepping of the home, the remodeling of the home, help them eliminate capital gain taxes. So truly helping them plan for the future and beyond. Because I mean, I'll be honest, I think getting your real estate license is way too easy. We're selling someone's biggest asset with a license that took us maybe 6 weeks to go through some kind of schooling. And it doesn't really teach people how to market homes. It doesn't teach people how to negotiate. It doesn't teach people, how to help with their biggest asset and build wealth through their biggest asset. Really, it just teaches them like what is an acre and different HIPAA, not HIPAA laws, but discrimination laws. Like they're big on that part, which is important. But I really believe to get your real estate license, it should be a 4-year degree or a 6-year program. Like this is someone's biggest asset. There shouldn't be 2 million realtors. There should be probably maybe 100 to 200,000 realtors that really are specialized in helping people. So, I help people again. I'm certified in capital gain tax strategies. So, a seller comes to me and says, "I want to sell my home." I go, "Okay, well, what did you buy your home for? What did you put in capital improvements? Okay, if you were to sell it for this today, this is how much you're going to pay the government." Now, I can show you there's 14 different strategies to minimize or eliminate those capital gain taxes because ultimately that might be your highest line item. Like as realtors, we do a seller's net sheet that does escrow fees and title fees and home inspection and transfer taxes, but we actually don't go over capital gain taxes, which is crazy to me. Most CPAs don't even really understand all of these strategies. All they know is what they're going to tell you you owe. Um, so we have families that, sell their properties. They paid 100, 200. I mean, one lady paid $1 million in capital gain taxes. And I said, "Oh my gosh, like, why didn't you look at a strategy?" "Oh, well, my agent never told me about that." So I called the agent. I was like, "Why did you tell?" And we went over and she's like, "Oh, well, they wouldn't want to do those things." I'm like, because you told them about them or because you decided for them? Well,
Yeah.
that's not in our lane. I was like, well, you're selling their biggest asset. That is your lane. Yeah, and we expanded our services where we really specialize in helping seniors and their families. So I have a nationwide partnership with Matt Paxton from the show Hoarders and Filthy Rich. So we help people declutter their home, organize, find valuables with inside their home, and then help them pack, help them have moving companies that really specialize with helping, and then unpack. And then a lot of times seniors have these distressed homes. So these wholesalers, these investors are just taking advantage of them left and right, trying to convince them that they can't sell their houses on the market. They'll have to do all these different things to do so. And so they offer them pennies on the dollars. They get into contract and they sell the contract for 40, 50, $100,000 more. And you're like, well, that can't be what's best for them. So we actually help them shell out the companies, clean it out, or shell out the houses, clean it out, and then we'll put it on the market and allow the new buyer to fix it up, just like new construction does for decades. So this way, the seller makes more money, the buyer gets to walk in exactly how they want it, and we don't have a fix and flip investor making 20, 30% margins for taking the risk. So we're trying to really, get more education out there, let people know that they do have options. You have 12 different options. When you're selling a home, there's 12 different ways to sell your home. The best decision makers and the best choices usually are when you're empowered through education, you know all your options, then you can self-discover which is best for you. And maybe you decide that, hey, I want to sell to an all-cash investor because I want speed and convenience. Or maybe you're like, hey, you know what? What if I could sell it and become the bank? Give me some security and flexibility. Or possibly maybe it's, hey, let's fix up the home and sell it, or fix up declutter it out, clean it out, and let the new buyer come in there and you want the net the highest value. So it really just comes down to like really giving them all their options. And I wish all agents would know how to do this. So I did start a senior planning division. So they get certified in trust, probate, senior relocation transition specialist, capital gain taxes, DSTs, 1031s, real estate planning, family feud prevention planning, so they can truly help seniors and their families on a high level. And we're doing the same thing for loan officers as well. It's the biggest segment in real estate, and yet less than 1% of agents actually know how to help them on a high level.
Interesting.
Every agent, no, okay, most agents know how to put a sign in the yard and sign a contract. Good agents know how to market that home and negotiate that home, but there's very few great real estate planners that actually understand how to truly make sure their best interest is being adhered to, and really help families. Like, how do you build wealth through real estate? How do you protect that wealth? And then how do you transfer that wealth to the next generation?
Yeah. Who is your favorite real estate entrepreneur of all time?
Well, I mean, was the Rich Dad Poor Dad, Richard Kiyosaki. I mean, he's done wonders for him. I think that's awesome. I like Chris Cron. I like the fact that he started with nothing. He started house hacking and he built up hundreds of $1 million of wealth through that method. And I like his method of buying two to $300,000 homes because they have the biggest upsides. Um, I'm not a huge fan of Grant Cardone, me personally. Anyone that
Okay.
says, hey, don't own your own home, I think really isn't thinking correctly or just wants you to go invest into the commercial properties. Not everybody can buy commercial properties. Um, and Yeah, so those would probably be like, how I would look at it. But I believe, I mean, for me, the ones I look up to the most are the ones that have changed the trajectory of their generational wealth with real estate. And just like you start with your one home, and instead of selling it and buying another home to upsize or downsize, why don't you keep that home and buy another home, or sell the home, buy your primary, and then go buy an investment property, so that by the time you're 60, 70 years old, you own three, five, 10 properties. That generational wealth, that amount of income, and then if you educate your kids and teach your kids how to do that, then you can keep building wealth. Um, I think that's, who I look up to the most rather than like a Chris Cron. Like, yeah, you've done something amazing. I mean, he literally started with buying his first house. He lived in the basement. His parents lived in above, or his mother-in-law lived above. And then he did it again. And then he did it again. And so I mean, that's obviously someone to be in awe of. But I just wish more people knew that you don't need to own hundreds of thousands of homes. Own three, own five, own 10, and then protect that wealth with an estate plan. Protect that plan with insurance. I
What about a
think
trust? Do you like trusts?
I believe everybody over the age of 18 should have an estate plan, which includes a trust.
Yes.
Because, like my 19-year-old son, or 21, sorry, he's 21. My other son's 18, but my son, 21-year-old son, let's say he goes out and drinks and gets drunk, makes a bad decision, gets on his motorcycle and crashes. If he goes to the hospital, I do not have the right to go in there and get his medical records. I don't automatically get to go make his medical decisions for him. So then the state gets to make it for him. Well, with an estate plan, we have a medical directive, we have a financial directive. Why wouldn't we want to have that in there? Um, if you own real estate, you should put it into a trust so that way it's protected. God forbid something happens to you, the government doesn't get it for you. I
Hmm.
truly believe, again, going back, if the government truly had our best interest at heart,
Hmm.
they'd make it mandatory that when you buy a home, you have to put into a trust.
Hmm.
But they don't want to because the last times they can steal from you is during conservatorship and probate. A
Exactly.
crisis happens and you're mentally or physically incapacitated, they
Bingo.
take control. Or if you pass away, it goes into probate and they take control.
Exactly.
So the family I look up to the most, and I wish that more people were educated on it, was the Rockefeller technique of they built their wealth through their oil and railroads, no doubt.
Correct.
But the way they kept their wealth and kept generating more wealth is they went and started Dynasty Trust, and that's like basically a forever existing trust, and then they went and got life insurance, an absorbent amount of life insurance, and they made the beneficiary the Dynasty Trust. And then when they had kids, they made them go get an absorbent amount of life insurance and named the Dynasty Trust the beneficiary. So just like me, I have 7 kids. Well, if I build up some wealth and when I pass away, it would get divided up in 7 ways. So
Hmm.
then, it's depleted in 7 ways. And then if they have kids, then it's depleted. And that's why true generational wealth generally does not last past 2 generations.
Interesting.
But if I get life insurance, put it into my trust, and my 7 kids, I make them, if they want to get benefits from my trust, they have to go get life insurance. Well, now when I pass away, it goes in. Now, when they pass away, 7 times more wealth. And then when they have kids, because I try to get everyone to have lots of kids, they're going to go, and it just keeps putting more and more and more. And the more wealth that's in this dynasty trust, the more you can get of life insurance. So I might only be able to get $5 million of life insurance, let's say, because it has to be based on like what my wealth is. Well, if my dynasty trust is now worth 5 million and now my kids have life insurance and they put it in there and they pass away and now we have $35 million. Well, now everyone should be able to get $35 million of life insurance. Well, now we can just exponentially just keep on adding to it. And so I wish that method was out. And I don't sell life insurance. I don't sell trusts. I don't get kickbacks. There's no monetary gain I have other than if you pass away and I'm named in your trust as the person to sell your property. I know I don't have to wait through probate to sell your property. I can just help you. That's probably my hidden agenda is I want everybody to get a trust, and I would hope that they would name me in their trust as being the agent to help sell or advise on the assets or the real estate in there.
So if I was to put my wife on the trust, because we have what's called a religious irrevocable trust.
Hmm.
Okay. We have a bank account, et cetera. It's all, we got everything notarized. We got all of our inventory, our XRP, our gold, silver, everything is notarized and sealed, et cetera. But if I wanted to make a decision, God forbid something happened to my wife or something happened to me, how do I have to make an addendum that in the event that something happens to me, I'm part of the trust and the only person that can make a decision, a medical decision, is my wife or vice
So you,
versa?
yeah, so irrevocable is a little different. It's much harder to change, but you might be wanting to do a living revocable trust, and then inside that living trust and inside the estate plan, you'd have a medical directive saying that if X, Y, and Z happens to you, this is what you want to happen. This is what they have the authority to do. I.e., if I got in a car accident and lost my legs, my family doesn't actually have the right to use my money to save me. So that's my choice. Um, a financial directive. So they know where, like, if this happens to me, my wife has access to go get this account, or something happens to both of us, my son or my dad has access to go get. So each person would have those things. So you'd want that in there. I like living revocable trusts. You probably did the revocable trust because for tax purposes and own nothing kind of technicalities. And I like it for it, but I think you could do a living irrevocable and then make it that if something was to happen to you, it goes filters into your irrevocable trust. Um, but yeah, so I would do something like that, especially like again, if you're building up wealth or real estate, once you establish your irrevocable trust, it's harder to feed stuff into it. But a living revocable, you can put things in and out of it pretty frequently. Um, and then I think at a certain age, when you're done building your wealth, then switch it over to
Wow.
irrevocable and let it feed the beast.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy that I don't really mind getting into a bloody knuckle fight with the county. I think the taxes that they charge not only are exuberant, but everybody, for example, here in Florida, is crying wolf because the gravy train is about to run out. They had proposed that, hey, okay, listen, we're going to get rid of your property taxes, but when you sell your house, we want 3% of the value of the house, sale value, to come to us. The same guys that are stealing the money, right? The
Mm,
same guys that don't want the gravy train to go away. But I think you could make a legitimate argument that if you were to put your house in a irrevocable religious trust and saying the house is owned by the ministry, that you could, if you wanted to get into 5 or 6 knuckle fights with them, I think you would come out victorious. That you really don't have to pay property taxes. It's like you're renting the land that the house sits on, and you're paying the state forever, which means you own nothing. You don't own the
right,
house.
right.
You know
Yeah, no, and I mean, because I hate taxes, so I
who
can
does?
see, I see the necessity of property taxes. I just wish that we had more control of where they went, and that's where I have the main issue is we have these we have property taxes, but they get stolen, that they allow fraud, they're not doing the right things with it. And so then, it's basically just,
Well,
wasting
we
our money and they
know.
don't care because it's not their money. So you're
Well, yeah,
like, well, wait a
exactly.
second. Like,
Yeah, we know for a fact,
so
for example, in Florida, that a lot of our politicians here, low level, mid level, high level, it don't matter. They've gone on lavish vacations overseas and rented boats and all kinds of things on our dime. We know that the money's come. They have done a DOGE audit here. There's a lot of dirt here in Florida. I don't know if and when these people are going to go to prison. I would love to see everybody go away for a very, very long time. We'll see what happens, but they are talking about getting rid of property taxes in Florida. Now, if that happens, and we could sustain on a sales tax and taxing countries who want to do, business with the most powerful, richest nation in the world through tariffs, and we could sustain that, Florida becomes a haven, and I think real estate prices will shoot through the roof if that happens, because everybody's going to want to come live here. Why? Because $20 million homes, which there's plenty of those. If you live in Palm Beach or Jupiter Island, etc., wouldn't have to pay any property taxes. And some of these homes are exuberant. I'm talking, they're paying $80,000, $100,000 a year in property taxes. Crazy.
yeah, no, and I think that's, I mean, like where I can see it is definitely is like once you've been in the home for 30 years, I can see, hey, you shouldn't have to pay any more property tax. Like you did your fair share. I mean, realistically, I mean, I don't believe, I believe our biggest problem is that we have a spending problem, a misuse problem, a fraud problem. If we
Yes.
fix that, we could do so much more with this country and our money. I definitely don't believe we're undertaxed, but yeah, I mean, I've been watching, if they do the no taxes, or at least they make carve outs where like seniors don't pay taxes, property taxes, or I don't believe I don't think they should make it once you pay off your mortgage, because then that'll only benefit, or that'll heavily benefit on the people that can afford all cash. Um, but I do believe that, hey, if you've owned the house for X amount of years, you paid into the property taxes, you paid into the system. But then again, they have to have a way to replenish that. So that's where, and if you make sales tax go up, that hurts everybody, and I don't want to hurt the poor. Um, and that's who it hurt the most is the people that don't have a home. They don't get the benefit of not having property taxes, but now all of a sudden their sales tax goes from 10 to 20%. Now they can't afford the food and the items. So I think it's a double-edged sword. But again, I like if I'm going to lean one side or another, it'd definitely be on the don't tax me anything and let
Well,
everyone fend for themselves.
I
Like,
think, I
yeah,
think that we are the richest nation in the world still, even though there's a lot of things wrong with this country. And
yeah,
I'm not a bootlicker of the Republicans or the Democrats. I'm sort of like in your camp as far as that's going. I just want to see the country do the right thing all the time. I think the reason why they were afraid of the blockchain is because they know that they're going to lose power at some point because the people upstairs know exactly how the blockchain works and how they're going to be able to govern or not govern, and it's not in their favor. So I think there are a lot of things coming down the pike that are going to be in our favor. But I think that running the country specifically on tariffs, when we had William McKinley, this country had more cash. They know what to do with all the cash. And where did
yeah,
the money come from? It came from countries that wanted to do business with America.
yeah. And I think one, I mean, the American consumer can drive economies across the world.
Absolutely.
Um, and if we just, if people would stop realizing the government is not their daddy,
Yeah.
my dad is my dad, my kid's dad, and who's responsible for them is me.
Okay.
And as harsh as it may sound, but if you have a mommy and daddy that didn't know how to take care of you or didn't want to take care of you, that's kind of the luck of the draw. That's not my job to take then care of you.
Sure. Sure.
Not it's not my like maybe biblically and religiously or spiritually I might believe it is, but it's not the government's job to force me to then go take care of you, to make sure you have food, to make
Sure.
sure you get your sex change that you want, to make sure you get your abortion. That's those that my
That's not your
tax dollars should not
responsibility,
be,
right?
and now if I want to go donate, if I want to go start a company, a nonprofit, I don't think anywhere in America does it stop people from doing that. And I think that's what we need to look more at is like, okay, take responsibility. And if you're, if they're not doing a good job, then, hopefully there'll be someone around you that loves you enough to try to take care of you.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, where do you see the complete real estate group.com going in the next 4 or 5 years? Is there room, for example, for other companies to come and consult with you and say, "Hey, that's a great idea. I want to do it that way too. Can I come and you will consult with my company so that I do it the right way?"
Yeah, so I mean, that's basically what we're doing with Axon and Nexa is it's basically a way to get involved in the platform and to try to have a true like high tides raises all ships. So trying to make it so agents, like right now, a normal agent, they come into a brokerage, the brokerage or team lead says, "Hey, go take Zillow leads." Well, Zillow takes 40% right off the top. Then the team lead takes 50%, and then the brokerage takes another 15 to 20%. It leaves the agent with like 15 to 25% of their total commission, which is not sustainable, and that's why 86% of agents fail. So we want to have top producers, people that want to be more than just agents, and we're willing to collaborate and teach, have them come into our senior plan division, show them how to be more than an agent, show them how to help seniors and their families, how to teach people how to build wealth through real estate and protect it. So my goal is like the Complete Real Estate Group is my company. It's like me for me and my team. But the senior planning division through Axon is more for like, okay, how do we help? So we're out in a group out of Utah. They're a bunch of investors, and they're like, actually, we like your model of helping people more. So how do we incorporate what we're doing already with what you're doing? So we're going to bring them into the team, show them, teach them, and they're actually going to go have all their agent partners join us as well and say, okay, we want to do business, but we want to do business this way from here on out. Instead of just being fix and flippers, we actually want to help people. There's a company I own called Invest for Purpose, and it's really the idea that try to get people around the world to invest with the purpose of helping people. Doing what we do just change, like you can fix and flip, but what if you just changed the model and didn't buy the house front and the front end? We just fixed up the house for the end use buyer, for the seller. So now everybody gets to win from it. So that's kind of where I see it going. I tell everyone, like, I thought I was going to have a nationwide team. Like, I grew 29 people in one year, which is pretty good for a localized team. And then I was like, I'm going to go across the country. But what I realized is I'm not good at keeping people accountable. I'm gonna have a hard time keeping my kids to brush their teeth in the morning and at nighttime. Like I'm not the accountable guy. I'm the inspired and motivate and idea person, but I'm not gonna follow up with you and go, okay, did you make your 10 phone calls today? That's just not me.
That's me.
And
See, I'm a follow-up guy. I will
yeah,
follow up until the cows come home.
I'm not. And I mean, my business, like I tell everyone, if I had an integrator in my business, I would probably do hundreds and hundreds of transactions because I have no problem generating leads and generating opportunities, but I don't chase business.
Hmm.
I attract it. So I'll meet with someone, they'll be like, I have $20 million of real estate to sell. I'm like, great, blah, blah, this is what we'll do. And a normal person would follow up with that person until, they told them no or F you or want to move forward. I will not follow up with that person until they call me back saying, okay, I'm ready to move forward. So I know I'm losing tons and tons of business. Same with agents. Agents
Yeah.
call me, hey, I want to join your team. And I'm like, okay, great. This is what it's about. And I'll never follow up with them ever again. So if I had someone that was like, hey, I'm going to build a system for you to follow up, dude, that the game over. But yeah, so I think that's where we could do it is, and then that's where Axon and Nexa come in is they have that and they're growing. I mean, Axon since October they started and they already have 3,500 agents. They're growing faster than Real and EXP combined. So that growth is what I'm trying to get into so that I can train these agents how to do 20 to 30 transactions a year, how to help families. And that's what I mean, me personally, my vision is everyone that comes into our collaboration network, we're going to have the most top producers, which is for agents. If an agent does 20 to 30 transactions a year, they're in the top 3% of the country. Well, I want the most of them out of any other brokerage or team or network in the country. And it's really going to be because we're not taking their commission. We're not feeding them leads. We're teaching them how to fish and where to fish and how to catch the fish. And then have a team handle the paperwork behind them. Because that's really where also the second leg is that people get stuck in is like they get stuck doing the paperwork. And you're like, dude, you can't go out and prospect and meet people if you're handling, escrow instructions and,
Yeah.
inspections and things like that.
And I'll come in and show them how to cook the fish and eat the fish.
Yeah, that's basically what I do. Is like I'm going to teach them like, hey, where's the biggest segment? Where's the statistic? Where's the probability of this happening for you? Here's the blueprint that you can do X, Y, and Z, and then here's the talking tracks. So that all they have to do is take action. And then if there was someone that came behind and said, okay, did you make your 3 to 5 phone calls? Did you make your one BOG call? Did you do your 1 hour prospecting on social media? Like, did you do what you're being taught? By a proven blueprint because most people I mean I dare I say that's what separates generally speaking the 1% from everybody else is they just take action.
Exactly.
So if you have a way and a mechanism to help people and make people accountable for taking action, man, it's so easy to make millions of dollars in this
Well, I'm
industry.
really good at that, and I'll tell you, my wife can't stand that part of me because there's like three things every day that I have to do that are very important, and she'll know that I'll follow up until, the cows come home to make sure that those three things got done. And so now she'll just like she knows that I'm going to ask her a million times. So to get me not to ask her a million times, she just gets it out of the way very quickly.
Oh, yeah. That's I mean that's what would be needed. So
Yeah,
yeah, maybe there's some collaboration there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and
So cool. So when are you going to be on dropping bombs again? I really enjoyed watching you on with Brad. I think Brad is an amazing guy, incredible podcaster, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we plan, I think July we have another episode and then it takes like 10 weeks for it to go, but we plan on doing a segment like every quarter
Okay.
um to really reach like, we'll start going in a more on a high level of like how do you eliminate capital gain taxes when you're selling? How do we help seniors and their families plan for the future and beyond? And then with segments on like how do we help agents and loan officers, do better and be better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what we're
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not crazy about buying multi-families like Grant Cardone. You said earlier that's not where
y-
real
y-
estate agents should focus. You're saying that they should focus more on buying the 1, 2 family units and flipping those.
Yeah, I think it's more realistic for most people to be able to buy a home and then buy another home and like buy 3 to 5 single family homes. Also, I love the quality of tenant. So when I'm buying real estate, I'm looking for quality tenant. Now I have
Mhm.
assisted living homes. I'm on my third one right now. So I think those are great investments and long term. But
Assisted
I think for
living,
the oh, go ahead.
assisted living.
Yeah. So we
Okay.
have a, like in California, we're allowed to have a 6 bed, it's called. So I own a residential home. I put 6 seniors in there. We help take care of them, and they live there through basically end of life.
Mhm.
They're great
The government pays
investments.
you good money for that. I know the
Well, we don't
government
do government
pays.
pay. We do all self-pay because I don't want the government involved anywhere in my life.
Mhm.
Um, but they pay. I mean, they're $8 to $12,000 for a bedroom bathroom. So there, you have 6 of those in a house. You're bringing in $48,000 of revenue.
Per
You probably
month.
have about 24 to 30 in expenses. You're making $10 to $15,000 in profit when your house is totally up and going. It's great investments. I don't know another single family residence opportunity that could do that. Um, but I just for like the big like 30, 100, I think quality tenant goes down. I think also the headaches go way up. The property management fee goes way up. And then just like we're seeing right now, like we're about to see, whether people know it or not, but there's going to be a commercial, like semi crash go on because there's a lot of like in residential real estate, you can have a loan for 30 years fixed rate. So you
Mhm.
know your fixed rate for 30 years.
Sure.
In commercial, it's usually 3 to 5 years.
Sure.
So every 3 to 5 years, you're going to have to redo your rate. And if your rate works good here and you have a good cap rate, but then your rate goes from 3% to 6%, there goes your profit and your cap rate. So now, because most commercial buildings are done on your cap rate on how much net operating income you actually have. Well, if your net operating income comes down, well, then people are like, oh, wait a second. I mean, I have a cash buyer, which they're usually going to give me a lot less than someone's going to leverage it. So we're going to see some harm come into it. So I don't like something that's that volatile. I mean, I get the other side of it where residential real estate is based on can people afford it and whatnot, and it's harder to make value adds and enforce that value adds. But again, I mean, it's easier for me to get a loan for $300,000 than it is for me to go raise money and get a $100 million property or $50 million property. Um, and I mean, again, Grant's done something incredible. So, like, I'm nowhere even close to Grant by any sort of means. He's obviously done exceptionally well for himself, but I think he's done exceptionally well of marketing people and getting people to give him money to go invest into commercial real estate. But when I hear him say, he owns all his homes he owns and he lives in. The difference is he found out a way to buy them, put them into an LLC, and then rent from his LLC. But for his primary residences, he does live in, he does own, he just owns them through his LLC. So when he's trying to convince these younger 20, 30, 40-year-old, people not to go and buy their own home, and I think that's it, he's either not telling the truth or he's bending the truth because he would rather have them invest into,
Yeah, he's
their
definitely
his
using
his product.
OPM, other people's money, to benefit himself, further his agenda. I mean, it's very easy to see what it is he's doing. I don't think I don't think he's a shyster because I think he's pretty open. People know exactly what they're signing on board and what the fine print reads, which is really not fine print. I happen to like the fact that he's an Italian billionaire, and I happen to be Italian, so I'm
Yeah.
partial to that, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely done. I mean, he's done very, like I said, he's
Yeah.
done very well for himself. And I mean, I'm not even a grain of sand to what he's done.
Right.
I think he's a really good speaker. I think he's a really good motivator. I think
He's a great entrepreneur. He really
he's
is.
a great entrepreneur and he's a great salesman. I am
Yes.
not a great salesman at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
I just, but again,
I am
I
a great
believe,
salesman. I'm really
you
good.
know, I think people. I think in this country, true generational wealth, for the most part, or true wealth in this most part, 90% of millionaires made it through real estate.
Yeah.
And they made it through residential real
Yeah.
estate.
No, absolutely.
Most of the baby boomers, they have $84 trillion
My
of
uncle
wealth.
Phil, my uncle Phil made a ton of money in real estate
Yeah, I
back in
think,
the 70s, right? He had a pizza
I,
shop in Garfield, New Jersey. and he used to make enough money to every 2 months he would have a down payment to buy a duplex, a two-family house. And that's what he'd do. He would buy, and then he got real cocky, and he started asking his father-in-law for money, and he borrowed money, and he would pay him back promptly with interest, etc. And then one day he said to his father-in-law, "How much money do you have saved up?" And his father-in-law said, "I got about $350,000 saved up." Because do you realize I became a millionaire and I did it borrowing money from you? True story.
Yeah. No, I mean, you definitely, I think that's definitely, there's truth to, you got to leverage, like, I believe in leveraging real estate. I believe that when you're building wealth, like, you want to put 20 to 30% down and keep taking money out to go and buy more investments. And
Yeah,
whether it's stocks and bonds, whether it's, I mean, I like tax liens because it gives you 18% annualized return on your money guaranteed from the government. And then I like real estate because I can hold it. It's tangible. Like, someone can't just say poof. I've heard of horror stories that people own cryptocurrency and then, lost their account, or something
crypto's a
happened,
different
and they,
animal. Crypto's like long term. If you don't have a 10, 15, 20 year game plan, don't even get into crypto. This is not going to be
yeah. And,
like,
and I think the same thing with real estate. I think if you, in real estate, if it's a 20 to 30-year retirement plan, I don't think there is a better retirement plan to build a true retirement
yeah,
and wealth. you know, Fix and flipping, I think it's, you got to have the knack for fix and flipping.
yeah,
But and have people made, lots of money through stocks and bonds?
yeah,
Absolutely. Where most billionaires and most deca millionaires have made it is through businesses and
yeah,
entrepreneurship.
yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think that
Yeah.
that's where people have to understand is, like, go look for
My
something.
favorite brand right there, XRP. I mean, I bought XRP at 0.002. We had mined 3.5 Bitcoins
Mm,
11 years ago when we got started. We got scammed, and the scam was basically the school of hard knocks, leading us to the cryptocurrency market. I'm still, even though the market's bleeding profusely, I'm still barely a multimillionaire, but I am a multimillionaire, you know.
okay.
But and I think the movie's not over yet. I think the movie, this is kabuki theater on steroids. We got to get done with Iran. We got to get done with all these wars around the world. We got to get everybody on the same banking page. I would have done things a little bit differently in Iran. I think I would have met with the people that want to overthrow the government outside of the country bordering Iran. I would have armed them to the teeth, train them, send them in, and I would have done it that way instead of. And then because look, at the end of the day, I think you'll agree with me, Cory. If you got 190 countries on board with one banking system, and all of a sudden Iran banking system is still the old banking system, is not compatible with the new banking system, they would have to capitulate whether they like it or not, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, you'd think they would. It's like, to me, I mean, the one problem I have with most cryptocurrency types is if you're allowing someone in Jamaica to buy cryptocurrency with, their currency, well, then it's only as strong as their currency, and same
Yeah.
with America's currency.
Well,
Like,
cryptocurrencies, some crypto have utilities, and some cryptocurrencies fix problems, as in
yeah,
plural.
as long, yeah, they have another purpose outside of just
Right,
being
right.
there.
XRP
So
does have the purpose of moving money.
yeah,
XLM,
so I think that,
YSL. Yeah,
those kind of things could work. I just,
yeah. Again, it's
I
long
think
term.
yeah, there's purposes for it, and then you just have to understand that purpose, and understand what you're doing.
Totally. But one of the things I preach, I tell my people, I say, do not put your money in staking crypto when the time comes, because when they do finally turn on the switch and they got to move quadrillions of dollars every year through the XRP, XLM system, whatever, XDC, the bottom line is that you put your money into something that's going to turn out to be the next FTX, right?
Right.
Or another scam, right? Uh, if you want to control your interest, put it into real estate. And that's what I plan on doing. I plan on doing real estate because I don't want anybody else to control my money. I don't want to take my money out of my wallet and give it to somebody that's going to give me, 1%, half of 1% a month on my whatever gazillions of dollars. And then one day I wake up and say, sorry, that company went out of business, and somebody just took your money and ran. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, that would be my That's why I mean one of
When
my
the time comes, I'll call you.
that's
You
one
know?
of my problems with most things is like I don't want someone else to. That's why I don't like stocks and bonds. Like that one guy who's got caught sleeping with his assistant, and all of a sudden the stock crashed, and you're like, I don't want anything to be dependent on other than, you
Exactly.
know, God's not making any more land.
Right.
Yes, there's ups and downs, but ultimately there's not a piece of real estate that I know that has a house on it that was worth less today than it was, 20 years ago. Like, so, let me own it, let me be in control of it, and if there's no property taxes, even better. It's
Absolutely.
just like,
But
yeah,
Brad's had a
so.
few people, XRP people on his show in the past. And
Yeah, I like the fact that he brings in all different people now
yeah,
from all different walks of life and
yeah,
different things. And he's like, hey, he brings in people that he verified are making money doing what they're doing. And he's like,
yeah,
hey, you guys should look into this. Like,
right.
because I think that's ultimately what people
No,
need to understand is you're never going to build wealth on a W-2 job.
no.
Um, and even the people that have big salaries, two and three and $500,000, like that means you're paying half your money to taxes. So you're not building wealth that way. But let's look at like you have the internet, which is billions of people online. Just
Correct.
find a way to sell a thousand, 1,000 people, $197 product in a year. So 12, was that 20 people a year or 20 people a month, and you're making a couple hundred extra thousand
No,
dollars. Like
exactly.
it's it's not as hard as people would like
No,
to believe it is.
no. Well, I dabble a little bit in everything. I just did my second movie, Dear Mr. President, Show Me the Money, a movie about the
Nice.
straw man. I did one about free speech. Donald Trump signed what is it, the executive order that social medias are not allowed to infringe on free speech ever again. And how did that go? Obviously,
Right.
ask Brad that question, right? Not too well. So I'm embarking on creating my own version of a social media, a YouTube like, but much better, a different mousetrap, if you will. That's my biggest project of my life, and that's going to be hopefully at the end of the year, beginning of next year, it'll be coming to fruition.
Nice.
We do quantum summits at the center. As a matter of fact, I would like to invite you as a speaker one day. We do summits that we get about 250 people that show up, an audience.
Nice.
We have a stage inside our wellness center, which is we have a
Okay.
biophotonic scalar frequency energy center where you sit there and the frequency goes to your body. And if you get that thing that starts with a C and it ends with an R that you beat by doing fasting and cleansing, you sit in
Yeah.
our system for about a month or two, and it goes away. The
Oh,
body
that's
knows how to
awesome.
heal itself in that frequency, and so we do quite a lot of different things. But we got our
Oh,
fingers in
that's
quite.
awesome.
I sell gold
Yeah.
and silver. I got quite a few businesses going on.
Well, good. It's what it is. It's just, my dad always told me, he's like, have a bunch of different cookie jars and then you'll always be fed and just,
Always, always,
just be
always.
there. And then I just go, it's like, do what you love, do what you like, and do what you're good
Exactly.
at. And if you
I love
build companies
sales.
around
You know,
there,
I love sales. I
yeah,
love to talk to people. I love convincing people. You and I having a conversation, but even though there's not a product being exchanged, you're selling me on your point of views. I'm selling you on my point of views, and that's sales in essence. And
yeah,
if you're married, somebody sold you on that entire concept,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Well,
I,
it was great having you, bro. I had fun. It was really a lot of fun.
yeah,
I'd
no,
like to
it's
have you
definitely,
back sometime.
you just let me know when. I'm always down to
Yeah.
be part of
And
something. I
if
love
Brad
empowering
is
through
willing to
education.
come on my show, let me know. I would love to
Yeah,
interview him as
I'll
well.
definitely, I'll talk to him about it and see what we can do to collaborate and grow from there.
That would be great. Yeah, you maybe send them a copy of this. Who knows?
Cool.
Thank you, brother. I
Perfect,
appreciate
perfect.
you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
The Mel Carmine Show begins in just 1 minute. Support the movement. Visit QFS1776.com for exclusive one-of-a-kind merch that makes a powerful statement. Protect your wealth. Cash is trash. Go to carminesgold.com and secure real assets, silver, gold, delivered anywhere in the U.S. Text Mel at 786 704-8817. Looking to acquire XRP? Minimum is $10,000 investment, and there is no limit, even up to $100 million worth. Again, text Mel with full details at 786-704-8817 and allow up to 24 hours for a response. And if by chance you're visiting Cape Canaveral or you are a local, visit stayingalive.com, alive with 2 E's, and recharge your body at the cellular level.